discuss about some of the importance of understanding the customer journey while we optimizing our RPV for the e-commerce websites.
Right. So for this, I was giving you an example of like agarbattis, incense
Yes,
sticks.
yes,
So if you think about it, like a lot of people would say incense sticks are bought by people who are, let's say, over the age of 55 or 60, who are
yes,
senior citizens, who go to temple a lot, right?
exactly.
But in other case, it could also be people who have like anxiety at workplace. They
Hmm.
might also use agarbatti as a way to calm themselves down, like aroma
Hmm.
of the
Yeah,
incense stick, right?
yes, yes.
So in both the cases, obviously communication would be very different. Let's say, so I use incense sticks for anxiety issues, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I always light incense stick in my at my workplace
Mm-hmm.
because I like the aroma and it soothes the body. So for me, the communication would be very different from a person who is 60 plus and uses incense sticks to do some ritual,
Mm-hmm.
right? They are buying it from the perspective of ritualistic things. I
Mm-hmm.
am buying it from the perspective of anxiety. So the communication is different. Now, obviously, you would also need to design the product pages in a way that appeals to both the user segments, right? So you can test product page version A for one audience and B for another audience.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how consumer journey.
Okay. Hello, am I audible? Hello. I actually can't hear you. Hmm.
30 who does it for like anxiety issues.
Ex-
So yeah.
Okay. So now, as you mentioned about detailing is very important while we are optimizing our websites for this part. Like ICP should be clear for anything, right? Now, can you also explain our audience some of the, yeah. So I just want to be know,
Yeah, ICP should be very clear.
yes.
uh
So I just want to be know, can you share some of the mistakes which brands are doing while optimizing their website for a CRO to increase their RPV?
yeah, most brands in India especially, they look at competitors. They think, oh, okay, if this brand is doing a lot of FAQs, maybe that will help me solve the conversion rate issues. But that's not
Hmm.
the case. Even the best of the best brands obviously have blind spots, right?
Hmm.
So just adopting directly from competitor brands things that you put on your website would not make sense. In fact, it would make your website or product page very crowded, and it can even slow down the speed of the load time. So
Hmm.
uh, that's the most like common mistake I see. They just copy from the brand thinking. So they put competitor
Hmm.
brands on a pedestal. Okay, if this brand, like,
Hmm.
let's say I sell shoes, casual shoes, I will put Neiman's on a
Hmm.
pedestal. Okay, Neiman's is a very popular brand, so they must be doing things right on the CRO front. When that's
Hmm.
not the case, every brand, be it as large as Mamaearth or Boat, they obviously have blind spots. So
Hmm.
you would need to figure it out on your own for your own brand, and that you can
Hmm.
figure out from all your past data. Like, let's say you have
Hmm.
started a brand a year ago. You have a lot of data
Hmm.
on your users. You have a lot of
Hmm.
data on what kind of customers buy your products for what purposes. So you should
Hmm.
always start from there, looking for CRO ideas rather than competitors, or rather than what's available on Google, or what other like experts are just saying. So just saying is very different from the doing, right?
Exactly. Exactly. So as you mentioned about the data analysis part, like, can you please help us to understand like how by leveraging the data analysis we can improve our RPV? Some of the
Yeah,
CR.
so personally, I use like a few tools. So one would be obviously MS Clarity or Hotjar. So
Hmm.
that would give me session recordings. Now, session recordings is a very time-consuming task, so you can derive insights from that, how users are browsing through your website, homepage, product pages, and checkout flow. Then heat maps, where people are clicking the most, what elements on your product page they are getting stuck at, things like that. Other tool I use is obviously Google Analytics, or you can use another any other web analytic tool.
Hmm.
Uh, So that gives you how the how people are browsing through your website till the
Yes.
purchase point. So
Crazy Egg is also one of the good tool for this.
yeah, Crazy Egg is another one. Crazy Egg is a premium, I guess.
Yeah.
So it's a paid analytics tool. But the ones I prefer is GA4, Hotjar, and that's about it. Like I keep it simple. Some brands that I work with have Lucky Orange already installed because they are on Shopify and stuff like that. But I don't think that gives good enough insights.
Okay. Now, can we discuss about the roles and responsibility does our website designers and user experience play in maximizing our RPV?
Okay, website designers. See, the problem is a lot of website design talent or a lot of copywriting talent for this who works on the CRO aspect lacks consumer understanding,
Hmm.
right? They do not have a pulse on the consumer psychology. So they need to, I don't know, they are more into hard talent like such as copywriting or coding and stuff like that, but not into consumer psychology. So a person who should be working on CRO is should be someone who has at least a good years of experience working across different products categories and working with direct users. So that's the edge uh, that kind of person can bring for CRO.
Exactly. So,
Like the team lead of the CRO team should always be someone who understands users intuitively.
hmm, okay. So, can you share some of the successful case studies or example of brand that have significantly increased their RPV through the CRO initiatives?
So I'll just share one of the brand which is a fitness brand that I worked full time at back in 2021 when almost no one was doing CRO, at least in India. Back then, I was running a lot of paid ads, a very huge budget. I can't say the budget, but a very huge budget. But I wanted to maximize the return. So obviously, I stumbled upon CRO, and then that's when I actually started exploring CRO. So we were able to 3x the average order value for a brand, fitness brand that sells very high ticket items, and that too in a market like India, which is very price sensitive. So we were able to 3x the average order value and we were able to 2x the conversion rate by a lot of reducing a lot of friction in how people pay for those high ticket products.
Okay,
So
that's
you can find the brand on my LinkedIn profile that I worked with. So that's when I actually got into CRO back in 2021. So
hmm,
this was out of necessity that I got into it because we were tired of running paid ads and paid ads started working better, but obviously there needed to be something else also to supplement the growth.
I found Mama Earth also has a very nice CRO landing page for them. And
Yeah, I don't know like if they have a CRO team or not, but when you do visit their website and product pages, it seems as if they are investing a lot because you see the kind of tiny details like each product page has, right?
hmm,
So it feels like as if someone is working very hard on the CRO, but I don't know if it works or not because I do not have the data. Uh, but that's how you feel. Like that's how you feel when you go to an Amazon product page, right? It's cluttered, not cluttered exactly, but cluttered in a meaningful way.
okay.
So yeah.
Even Boat is also doing a very nice job here.
Yeah, Boat I think was the earliest one to adopt CRO. I used to go to their website back in 2022 and they
Hmm,
used to have a separate section for something called offers. So
hmm,
whatever offers they have with different credit cards or wallets, they used to have a very separate like landing page for that.
hmm.
And I guess that was a very good idea.
Okay. So now let us move forward to understand some of the innovative or emerging CRO tactics that e-commerce and D2C brands should consider implementing to improve their RPV.
Yeah, this one I'm not sure. This one, so the thing is, it depends from brand to brand. As I said earlier, you should not adopt something from the competitors
Hmm,
that too directly. You should always come up with your own ideas. But I see a lot of innovation in how people pay for the products,
hmm,
and I see and one innovation that needs to happen is how Indian brands communicate the value proposition
hmm,
because for a long time these Indian brands have not focused on the messaging. No matter how many people say messaging is important, they have not really focused on it because I feel there is a lack of talent that actually understands user behavior and then knows how to translate verbally into a language that is suited for the product page. But
Hmm.
that's the case. So yeah.
Okay, yeah, I totally agree with your point. So, like, how can brands balance the need for conversion rate optimization with maintaining a positive user experience for their customer? Because I personally believe, like, most of the times when we're trying to optimize for the CRO, we hamper with the user experience to our platform or website.
Yeah, so a lot of brands do this. They mindlessly bundle things up, expecting that the user will buy the bigger bundle or whatever, like go the higher average order value. But as a user, whenever I visit such websites, not all of them, but some of them, I feel like the brand is being too salesy towards me. So, let's say if I am going to a coffee brand's website, right? Let's say Sleepy Owl Coffee,
Hmm.
and if I see on their product page they're trying to sell me a bundle of something, but I
Hmm.
have never even tried their coffee once. I just heard it from a friend and I want to try it just once, right? So
Hmm.
why would I buy a bundle?
Hmm.
So my first impression would be, oh, they are too salesy,
Hmm.
even though they didn't intend to be, but it would appear, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, so you have to be careful, like where most of your users are. Like, are you in a phase where you are acquiring new users, a
Yeah.
lot of new users? So obviously you should not be acting too salesy, because you should be acting like you need to warm up those new users. If you are an already established brand, let's say Mamaearth, 7 to 8 years down the line, then obviously you can try sales tactic, because now you are publicly listed, you need to show results and all of that. Awareness is already there in the market. So yeah, so it depends on the life cycle of the company or the
Okay.
brand.
So, what are the challenges that e-commerce and D2C brands may face while implementing the CRO strategy, which you just mentioned today, to increase their RPV and how they can overcome with them?
The challenges in India is mostly talent. I don't know, bringing, so a CRO lead should be able to bring all the people, designers, copywriters, and the dev team on the same page why a certain change needs to happen to the product page. Because developer might say, oh, this feature looks really nice and I coded it for 2 hours and it took me very long and I feel proud of it. But from a marketing perspective, it might be a very shitty feature,
Hmm.
right? So it's all about bringing the whole team on the same page for that thing.
Okay. Talent is one of the most important challenge which brands are facing today, right?
Right. So, I don't know, it all also depends a lot on the founders. Sometimes, let's say when someone is an upstart, let's say 1 year old,
Hmm.
and now they have recently raised funding. Now they need to show the results. Obviously, their marketing would become a little bit too salesy because the pressure is on, right? Uh, so CRO changes will happen in that kind of philosophy where we need to bring sales somehow. So there is also a thing. Let's say if you are able to improve conversion rate and AOV, but what if your LTV declines over time? That is also a problem. You end up selling a lot of your stuff upfront, but in the long term you're not selling because people are not really liking your product or your marketing or whatever the experience you bring. So that could also be a case. It's a CRO is a very fine line to balance.
Okay. So, as it is said, no one can sell, any marketing cannot sell a was product, right? So here the
Right.
product is also important.
You can get away with selling a bad product for a while with good marketing,
Hmm.
but for the long term, the product always shows up because the product goes in the customer's hand, then the customer starts to complain, then 7, 8 months down the line, those complaints started showing up online. So things happen. So like your product always need to be best in like you need to put your 100% effort behind the product first
Hmm.
and then really care about the marketing. So let's take an example of a brand such as Liquid Death.
Hmm.
Now Liquid Death sells a very safe product which is water.
Hmm.
Nothing can go wrong with water, but it can. So people can start complaining, oh, this is not actually spring water, this is this kind of water and that water. So that can break the marketing. So setting the expectations right upfront about the product is very important, even though your marketing might be like world class.
Okay. So last but not least, like, what advice would you like to give to e-commerce and D2C brand looking to prioritize their CRO efforts to maximize RPV in today's competitive landscape?
It's not a get rich quick scheme. Like
Yeah.
DTC is not a get rich quick scheme. If you are really into building a brand,
Mm,
you should put your heart and soul into it. Otherwise, there is no shortcut at all. Even to find the shortcut, you have to take the long route first. Then you come to know about all the shortcuts available.
mm.
So there is no skipping the hard work.
So, thank you, Geet, for sharing all those insight today. I hope our listeners
Yeah.
would really like it. And if
Right.
you need any kind of a CRO expertise, tips, tricks, and strategy, go check and follow Geet Aneja on LinkedIn. He share a lot of insights and tips on his LinkedIn platform.
Yes.
Right. Thank you
Yes.
again. Thank you for joining this session.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.